Hey, good morning. Waiting on the computer over there. As you can see, love's showing me just a whole lot of nothing but worthless. How are y'all doing? Hopefully, I'll be able to read comments in a few minutes. Hopefully. Went to the movies to watch Venom a second time. See if there's anything I really missed. It was pretty much the same movie still. If that makes any sense. Uh, I saw James Bond, Daniel Craig. Um, that's a definite yes. I would have to say that was probably one of the better movies I've seen in a few years. Probably one of the best movies I'd seen in a few years. The theater was full. There wasn't an empty seat at the James Bond movie. Saw it on Thursday, opening night, and that was impressive. There was people from all ages there, and it was very typical James Bond. Now, I haven't followed that franchise as closely as some or even many of you have. I'm very familiar with James Bond, but that's about it. I couldn't tell you what happened in the last movie. I couldn't tell you who the bad guys were in the previous movie. I couldn't tell you why this person is playing this character. I couldn't tell you why that person's playing that character. I couldn't tell you why those were the bad guys that were in this movie, why they were there. But I know who James Bond is. I know who Daniel Craig is, playing James Bond. And I really enjoyed it. It was James Bond from the beginning of the movie all the way to the end of the movie. I don't feel at one moment that they betrayed James Bond's character. I don't feel at one moment that I was necessarily being educated by watching the movie. I feel personally that it was what I expected a James Bond movie to be. So there had been some concerns that some people were saying that it was going to be a Jane Bond movie, and I disagree. So it was a good movie. It was a really good movie, really good movie. So if you have any doubts about whether you want to go see it, just toss them out the window. Any preconceived idea that you might have had based off of the last movie, which I don't even know if I even seen. I don't even think I saw the last movie. I didn't see anything in the movie at all that I could see any reason for anyone to complain about anything. It was a great movie. It was a great action-filled movie. I mean, a lot of action, a lot of great cinematography, a lot of beautiful locations. He's got his gadgets that you expect him to have. It's really good. Of course, there's always the scenes that they ruin in the trailers. So uh, stay away from the trailers any more than what you've already seen if you're planning on going to see the movie. Because there's this one scene that would have been a million times better if it wasn't in the trailer. So they screwed that up. I always hate when they do that. But yeah, go see James Bond. Like I said, even if you're not totally current on what James is doing, like I'm not or wasn't, you're not going to feel lost. You're not going to be like, well, who the hell is that and why the hell are they there? I don't know. But they do a pretty good story of explaining the people that have really had a hard time needing to know who they were. So there was two characters, I think, that needed to be explained to me, and they gave me enough understanding of it to know what the hell's going on, and I was fine with that. So maybe some of you that are full-on James Bond fans might feel that they're boring you with information that you didn't necessarily need. And I can understand that if that was the case for you. But I didn't see anything wrong with the movie at all. And if there was ever going to be a movie that I could imagine people would complain about, it would be a James Bond movie, given today's current political climate in regards to how things go. And no, he was still James Bond, any way you look at it. So I don't know what the next movie is going to be like, because from my understanding, this is Daniel Craig's last movie. He's done, I guess. And also, from my understanding, it was put in the can in 2019, supposed to be released last year. So I don't know if they're working on another James Bond movie at this point. I don't know. I'm sorry to say. I don't have any of that knowledge whatsoever. And, you guys are welcome to discuss it here in chat if you are. I know some of you are quite fond James Bond James Bond fans. So I don't think Ian Fleming would have been disappointed at all in this movie. I still think it was the character that he created. And again, I had never read any of the books. I have not seen every single James Bond movie. The only thing I guess I really had a problem with was the theme song was weak. The beginning theme song was weak. What kind of complaint is that? I mean, they've had weak songs in the past. I just thought the theme song was weak. And there was one particular scene I really, 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 really liked. It was about as classic or iconic a James Bond moment you could make. It was picture perfect. And I was like, that's cool. I mean, there's a moment when you're thinking that James Bond's down and out and he's dead and he's reached the end of the line, and then the hero reveals himself and comes up. It does the complete cycle the way a story is supposed to be told. So keep that in mind as well. Great movie, really a great movie. Go see it for fact, especially if for nothing else, if you just want to go see a great movie that's filmed and directed well, go see James Bond. It was a good movie. No matter who the character was, it was just filmed great. So my computer's up now. Good morning. How you doing, Toys Mafia? How you doing, Jake? CBS Sci-Fi, how are you? Dagger Ansys, hey, thank you so much for the detail of advice. Oh, good. Super helpful. Oh, awesome. Now I'm searching on lighting options. So I'll show you again. What I use is, and they're available at IKEA. These are the numbers that you'll need. 2042. See if you can see that. That 2042. And there's that number. I don't know if that's in focus or if it's out of focus. That helps you. And now what I do, which I think is great, they tell you you're only supposed to put 3 of these together. Evidently, supposedly it doesn't power more than 3. It powers more than 3. Powers more than 3 quite well, as a matter of fact. So what I do is I make 2 rows of it right here in the front. Right in between the metal bar and the glass wall. Okay, and I put the back of it against the side, so the lights are shining towards the inside of the front window, the front door, whatever. So this is where the back of the glass of the lights are, and I've got 1. There's a seam. 2. There's a seam. 3. There's the seam. 4, 5, 6. There's 6 of those stacked up, all powered by 1 power cord. And they tell you don't put more than 3. There's 6, lined straight up, and they're bright. They're very bright. So it's not a matter of it not being able to power those 6 strips. So I just, whether you come from the top or the bottom, I came from the top and just run my wire right there, plug it in, and up, all 6 of them straight down, and it works. It works wonderful. It really works absolutely great. You might need to possibly consider some other option if you're trying to really light the guys up there in the back. But for the most part, if you put no more than 3 on a shelf, you'll get light to everybody. You start stacking 4 on a shelf, it gets a little messy. So as long as you and as long as you try to keep them spaced into like a triangle form like that, then they're going to get the light all the way around them. Whereas here we got the white outfit Tony not getting as much light because Spider-Man's right in front of him. So I have the Detolf, so I just need to put them together. And if you just skip an aisle, you know, you can do the taller ones. You can put your taller ones in there by just not putting a shelf in. And you can raise shelves. I've seen people buy cable locks, cable nuts, which is that U-bolt that's designed to hold cables together, steel cables. And they've used those to attach to the little steel rods in there to lift up the shelves. So that's another good piece of advice if you want to keep all 3 pieces of glass in there, and you can just lift it up to make it tall enough, and then have a short one underneath or something to that effect. So lots of videos out there that'll show you that, but that's what I've done for the lighting, and I'm very pleased with that setup for my lighting. It works very good as far as I'm concerned. Got Spider-Man in the mail, and I really need to devote some time to this room. I got to open the Spider-Man. Got to. I think this is the Marvel Spider-Man video game series 46. I think this is the Deathlock Spider-Man. Oh, let's talk about DC Universe, what I did over there. All right, so I needed to finish watching Aquaman, and I did, and I enjoyed Aquaman. There was it was a pretty good movie. It could have been better, but it wasn't a bad movie. It was a pretty good movie. So I enjoyed Aquaman. So far, up to that point, I had seen the Superman movie, the Batman versus Superman movie, the Wonder Woman movie, or the Suicide Squad movie, the Wonder Woman movie, and Aquaman. And Wonder Woman and Aquaman were good for the most part. They weren't bad movies. Then after I got done watching Aquaman, I looked to see what the next movie was, and evidently I was supposed to watch Justice League before watching Aquaman. Evidently Justice League comes before Aquaman. So the series is supposed to be Superman, Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, or I don't know which one of those comes first, Justice League, then Aquaman. So I watched Justice League. I really enjoyed Justice League. I thought Justice League was a pretty good movie. There was one part of it that I was kind of a little disappointed with, and I don't remember what it was, but there was a part of it and I was like, oh, give me a break. But for the most part, on the whole, given the situation of the other movies that they had done before that I had so easily, or was so easily able to criticize, I really couldn't find much reason to criticize Justice League at all. Truthfully. That's truthfully. I really couldn't find much reason to criticize it. So I would say that Justice League was probably one of their better movies. Maybe even their... I guess I would say probably the best movie of the DC Universe at this point that I've seen. So I don't know what comes next. I have to look. I think Shazam comes next. I don't remember. But I'll watch the next one this week. But I really enjoyed Justice League. I didn't realize that Wonder Woman was as powerful as Wonder Woman is. So now I've seen obviously 3 movies with Wonder Woman in it. Batman versus Superman, of course, Wonder Woman, and Justice League. And Wonder Woman is, wow. She is a very, very, very powerful being. I'm just blown away. She's she's amazing, and they've done a great job with her in the 3 movies that I've watched. I think for the most part, they've done a great job with Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman. Very pleased with that whole thing. She's amazing. And the character is amazing. She is supremely powerful. She's supremely powerful. Um, they liken her even to being a god because I guess she was a daughter of Zeus. I think is what they explain. So it's amazing. It's an amazing movie. I really enjoyed Justice League. So let's see. Save all Mason, thank you for the pictures. What an amazing, amazing display you have of Mysterio. I really like that setup. That looked great. Thank you very much for sharing those with me. That's great. That really looks good. Good job. Beats. Hi, I think if you use cable covers with a milky cover, it will look even better so you don't see the LEDs. Yeah, and there's lots and lots and lots of videos out there of people that have done various forms of lighting their cabinet. But this works for me. It also, in my opinion, where the lights are, it's right there where that seam is of an open package, more or less, where dust and whatnot can get into it, and it's another barrier instead of it just being a straight shot into it. The air has to hit the light that's there first. So I feel it also is stopping some of the dust from getting in there because it's not a sealed in environment. But I believe that probably stops a lot of dust that would come in there through sideways. Can't stop it from the top and the bottom. And with just that, and it's not again airtight. I bought refrigerator seal, air conditioner sealant, little foam seal to use, and I just don't think it was necessary. I don't feel my characters are getting dusty in there as they are, so I'm not too concerned about the dust in that regards. In there, they're pretty safe from dust inside the Detolf. Have you seen all the releases? So like 7 figures in 2 weeks with Ahsoka and Batgirl next week. Oh my goodness, no, I did not know that. Um, what did I see? I haven't checked in 2 days. Oh my goodness, what is that? Oh my goodness, what am I missing? I think the last thing I seen was I guess I didn't see anything since Carnage. I'm slipping here. I am slipping. See if we can get a quick response here from one of the Hot Toy sites. While that's burning, let's see what else we got going on in chat. Let's see. Which Justice League did you? The first one. I don't know. It was the one that's on HBO. The one that came up. I don't know which one it was. How would I know? By a scene. Is there a scene specific that's in one or the other that isn't in the other or the one? I don't know. It's a good question. I know on the Batman versus Superman, I think it was like the directors or something cut the big long version of it. But I don't know whether it was the normal Justice League or the director's cut, Snyder's cut. I don't know. It's a good question. Okay. On that Hot Toys site, they haven't shown anything since Carnage. that I see. And this Hot Toys site still loading. Yeah, I ordered Carnage, $510. Fucking hell. This Hot Toy site showing the Gwen Stacy and the Mark 33. No, I don't know if there's any. What else has been out since that? That's all I have on here. So, no, I haven't seen the other releases. If there's been more since then, I have not seen them. Uh, um, there was Steppenwolf was in it. I don't remember another bad guy. So maybe the answer is no. Was there like a full on another, I mean, fully different bad guy that made an appearance? Because they were fighting only Steppenwolf the entire time. Steppenwolf. Is it Steppenwolf or Steppenwolf? Is it two P's or two F's? That's who they were fighting. Uh, for the ones that own a Wonder Woman figure or want to make a custom, search for. Does that say gas toys? It's right there where my black line is. The second to the bottom text gets ate up by the LCD line, the black line on my monitor. So I try to figure out, Wonder Woman head sculpt is amazing, much better than the Hot Toys. Oh, okay. I got to tell you, after watching that, I'm like, oh gosh, dang it! Now I've got to buy Justice League. I've got to track down a Flash and a Superman and a Batman and a Wonder Woman and an Aquaman and a oh my God, Cyborg. Is that who that is? Oh, I'll tell you, I did like the end of it. Uh, I had no idea how the movie was going to end. I'm talking about the post credit scene. So I knew exactly who it was as soon as I saw that katana handle with the ribbon hanging on it. I was like, holy shit, that's Deathstroke. And so that was nice to see that they are bringing Deathstroke into the whole thing. Obviously, trying to compete with Deadpool, because as everybody knows, Deadpool is a 100% ripoff from Deathstroke. In the beginning, okay? So they totally made Deadpool a Deathstroke knockoff. And I mean, and you know that. Every one of DC and Marvel characters are ripoffs of each other totally in so many capacities. Um, and Deadpool is a straight up ripoff from Deathstroke. Blatant ripoff. It's funny, it's sad, it's comical, as a matter of fact. But I don't think they could make a Deathstroke movie like a Deadpool movie, because Deathstroke is not Deadpool. Deadpool started off as Deathstroke, but Deadpool is definitely Deadpool, and Deathstroke is definitely Deathstroke. So I don't know if maybe they were thinking they could catch some of the Deadpool rise of Deathstroke. It's really two different characters for the most part. I mean, they're the same character, same powers more or less, but and Deadpool would so easily kick Deathstroke's ass. Well, not easily. Deadpool would win in a battle against Deathstroke, but I don't think Deathstroke is the same character that Deadpool is. Deadpool is the same character Deathstroke was, but Deathstroke is definitely not a Deadpool character. So if they're trying to sit on the coattails of Deadpool, it's not going to happen. Deathstroke would have to be his own character, totally, because he's a different character, totally. So that was a neat ending. I was happy to see Deathstroke. I'd like to see where that goes. Captain Rex, Death Watch Mando, nice. Shore Troopers, nice. The Miles video game character, oh goodness. Spider-Verse Gwen and Lando all released. Okay, yeah, I saw that they were released. The Miles, a video game character in the Spider Verse. Gwen, I thought you might have meant new ones that announced the brand new ones to order. Maymaker, good morning. How are you? How are you? How are you? How's the music coming along? Oh, Willie, we're just chatting about movies right now. I talked about that I went and seen Venom a second time, and I went and saw James Bond movie and really enjoyed that. No Time to Die. Really, I mean, I went on record as saying it's probably one of the best movies I've seen in the last few years. It was a really good movie. And even if you're not a James Bond fan, or if you've never seen a James Bond movie, or if you're not kept up with them like I haven't, I've not kept up with them. Now I feel like I need to go watch all the James Bond movies, however many there are of that. I'm assuming probably 20 movies. I don't even know. Um, I really feel I need to watch all the James Bond movies. It was a really good movie, and it was James Bond from beginning to end. Totally. They didn't do anything bad to him. I think Ian Fleming would have been perfectly pleased with how this movie turned out. Anyone green in it in the movie? I don't remember anyone green, so I must not have seen the director's cut, Snyder cut. So I guess I should watch the Snyder cut. Should I watch the Snyder cut this week then? And I guess, are you guys saying that it's better? God, please tell me it's better. Don't tell me to watch a movie that's worse. I'm pleased with how the Justice League went. I hope you don't turn me on to something and I'm like, oh God, why did they do that? That would probably really blow my mind. I can't imagine that. You have to watch the Snyder Cut literally 1,000 times. Wow, what? Wow, wow, that's amazing. That's absolutely quite a statement. It was a pretty good movie, and I enjoyed the. Again, I don't know the DC universe that well. I don't. I don't know them that well. I grew up with Superman and Batman originally. Superman and Batman were the superheroes that I knew originally. I didn't know anyone else. I didn't even know Spider Man existed in the beginning. And I knew of Spider Man through a comic. I mean, on cartoons. They had like a Spider Man and Amazing Friends cartoon where he had somebody named Firestar and Iceman or something. That's who was his partners. And then I knew Spider Man from this television show called The Electric Company, where they had like this little bitty Spider Man blurb that had a live action Spider-Man going around. He kept talking through thought bubbles. He never spoke. He didn't say anything. It was just, and thought bubbles would come up. So that was my extent of knowing Spider-Man. And I knew Hulk from uh, David Banner as the Incredible Hulk, Bill Bixby. That was my Hulk. And I knew Shazam from that television show, live action television show that was on. Um, but other than that, the comics that I read were Superman and Batman, and then Disney comics and Archie and Jughead. Those were the comics I read. So I'm obviously very familiar with old school Superman, old school Batman. Of course, um, Batman from television, the campy Adam West. Loved those. Thought they were great. So that was my extent of the superhero knowledge as a child. And then I discovered Spider Man um, right around Secret War was when I discovered Spider Man, and boy, that's all it took. I full on totally just switched over to Spider Man and just gobbled everything up Spider Man had at that point, and kind of just left Superman and Batman in the dust, and never really went back to those comics in that regards. But so I don't know all the characters in the DC universe, and so it's been nice to be on the outside of it and watch it without any real preconceived ideas. Whereas I can't watch a Spider-Man movie without being totally expecting this to happen, that to happen, or this should stay the same, or that should stay the same, because of my Spider-Man knowledge. And then I stopped reading the Spider-Man comics in in the '90s, the late '90s. I think the last Spider-Man comic I bought was probably 1999. I don't remember, and I quit reading the new Spider-Mans at that point. So that's my extent of the comics in that regards. But I don't know that much about the DC universe. except, and of course, Linda Carter is Wonder Woman. So that would be my extent of the DC knowledge. So, good flashbacks, nice. So let's get this Spider-Man open. I don't remember. I think this is the Deathlock Spider-Man. Um, and so, of course, I was reading the comics when this suit came out. If this is the Spider-Man, I think it is. And I remember this comic very well. But I don't think they call him that. And I don't think many people know the connection to this outfit. I was surprised when, if this is the outfit I'm thinking it is, when it made it to the video game. And I never played the video game. I've just researched it on all the characters. Oh, no, it's Miles Morales. So it's not the Deathlock. It's a Miles Morales. I thought it was a Deathlock Spider-Man. I couldn't figure out what the MM was. Duh. See, I never had any Miles Morales comics. So he doesn't come to mind much. And I don't really have a problem with Miles Morales. My only exposure to him is the movie, the Into the Spider-Verse movie. And I think that explained him well enough. I understand in the Homecoming Spider-Man movie, that was supposed to be the Prowler, and he was supposed to be talking about Miles at one point when Spidey stops some thievery going on, and I don't remember what the whole scene was, but that's what that was supposed to be referencing. So I suppose that they're planning on bringing Miles into the whole Sony universe MCU crossover. However you want to explain that. This is a cool box. The red black areas are textured, and the word Spider-Man is textured, but Spidey's not. Over here on the side, his hands is. But I have no problem with Miles. I think he's an interesting character. I guess I would have to say the first time, an alternate Spider-Man came about to my knowledge that I think was like a total different Spider-Man. And I'm not talking about Ben Parker, or the clone of Spider-Man, which is a cool different one. I'm talking about, oh God, what's his name? 2099 Spider-Man. Miguel. Was that his name? So when that came out, I was kind of like, wait a minute. They've got someone other than Peter Parker being Spider-Man. So that was an interesting thought process in that regards. I think I've got 2 of these on order. They definitely show you, very interesting. They give you a good display here on the outside of the box, telling you what's coming up. That's nice. They're actually using the box for advertising, where that should have gone. So on the back of this, that would have made much better sense. So you can see what all's in there. I think at this point you already know what you're getting. I should put that on the outside of the sleeve. That's great to see. That's to see on the back of any other carded character you buy. This stuff. This is what's in the box. This is what you can do. That should be on the outside of the box, not on the inside where you can't see it. So yeah, I'll buy anything Spider-Man that they make in this 1/6 scale that's true to the current thing. Like one day I was asked if I was going to buy a Green Goblin that was from the comics, and I decided I was not going to, because I've been passing on more or less the more comic-y characters. Sideshow makes a lot of them. Comic book homages characters, and I've been passing on them. So I passed on that Green Goblin, but I think I've got a couple of these on order because there's many iterations that you can display him in. So here's his hands and electric, and they're still going with this thwippy wrist palm thing, which I thought was a good idea, except it just looks like he's got a bunch of globbed up muck that's not coming out properly. The way they need to correct that is either to make that thinner, which is going to be an impossibility, but to make the web thicker, which is probably not a good idea. It just looks stupid when you have this, this glob about that thick and coming out of it a super thin strand of web. And so they need to either make the glob smaller or the web thicker. I don't know what the solution is. If they're going to keep doing this, that's really what they need to do. It just looks stupid. Knit cap and scarf. And I don't know what this is paying homage to. I don't know if it was in a comic, if it was in the video game. I don't know if they're trying to do the Andrew Garfield thing into Miles Morales. I am really looking forward to the Spider-Man No Way Home movie this Christmas. Oh my God. I am so 100% looking forward to that. For fact. And I guess now everyone has to carry around a backpack. When I was growing up, young kids would not be seen dead with a backpack. You would carry 300 books under one arm rather than put them in a backpack. So they've totally molded this entire thing. It's like it's one piece. I mean, there's the zippers are molded into it. Everything is, it's literally one piece. There's a little hard piece here. Okay, two pieces. This comes off. But it's all molded, is the point I'm getting at. It's not like they've sewn anything on here. Well, I guess the straps are kind of stuck in it. Maybe the bottom might be separate. But it's not like any of the other backpacks, is my point I'm trying to get to. Um, it's not soft and squishy. It's hard. Very hard. Neat little backpack. Little hand straps on the sides there. You're not cinching this. You're not making it tighter. It's one size. Period. That's the inside. A little piece of styrofoam. A little piece of soft foam in there. Black foam. This is the little flap that came off of it. That's the inside of the flap. Okay, so this then would be an alternate door. So you can take this one off. Because he has a cat, I'm assuming, so you can then stick the cat in it. And it does a good representation of displaying what it would look like if it was unzipped. And you can see it's much shorter than the one that came on there. But it gives a good illusion of looking like what it should look like if the backpack was open. It's a good idea. I like that. It's good thinking. So speaking of the cat, again, I don't know the story of this cat. Looks just like a lanky Morris the Cat style cat. I don't know if he's in the video game, if he's from the comics. I don't know. I don't know what his story is. He's neat. He's cute. I guarantee he's designed to go in here. And he fits in there well. I just slid him straight in. Same webbing we've been getting for years. And let's see if they painted it. Because one of the ones recently they didn't paint. And they didn't paint this one either, that I can tell. Used to be they put this silver dry brush on the outside spiral of this. And there's not. It's not. It's crystal clear all the way through. So they've decided to raise the prices and not put as much on there as they had before. But it's the same webbing of any Spider-Man over the last handful of years. And so if you're familiar with this webbing, you don't need to know this because you already do. If you're not familiar with this webbing, they tell you to push it through and pull it through. And I'm telling you that if you have to force this into a hand, into the hand of this, you're going to break this. What you're going to need to do, this needs to go in and out of the hand easily. You want some resistance because you want it to be able to stay in the position that you stick it into. Okay. If you're going to use this though, don't push on it here and don't pull on it here, no matter what they tell you. If you can't stick it into the hand with very little difficulty, I mean, it shouldn't be sliding out. It shouldn't fall out. You should be able to turn the hand over and it should fall out. It should stay in there. But if it doesn't go in there with any difficulty, if you have to push hard on it or pull hard on it, stop and make the hole bigger in the hand, okay? Because I have pulled on this to pull it through, and this piece breaks clean off. And I have pushed up here to push it through, and this piece breaks clean off. So don't push it, don't pull it. If it don't fit in the hand, stick something in that hand to make that hand hole bigger to get it into it. Do not push or pull on this. You will break it. So if this is your first time with one of these, take that advice seriously. You'll be very angry. Like I said, especially if this is your first Spider-Man and you do that and you break it. I don't know what to tell you. You're out of luck then. And we get what I call the Todd McFarlane webbing, because really it was Todd that brought the web to life. All of a sudden, Spider-Man's got this uncontrolled web everywhere, and Todd really had a good time, it seems, drawing the web. Now everyone does that, but the web was just a very purposeful item that was used to get Spider-Man around in the comics. There wasn't any story with the web. And all of a sudden, Todd starts asking the question, what the hell is happening to all that web? How is that not a mess in his hands? And so that's what we have. And so I will always call the Todd McFarlane webbing. He brought the webbing, he made the webbing a character, more or less. Two little black wrist pegs, nice to have. And to round out the webbing, we get the splat. All right, so they got the eyes in the package, and I hate that. I like it when it's a separate piece like this, like the hands were, where you can actually store them in the drawer instead of keeping them in this box. The box goes in the garage. And so now I got to have the eyes loose, more or less, in the drawer. But we only get 3 additional eyes, rather in addition to the eyes that are on his head. So the widest eye is on his head, and then we have one a little narrow, one a little more narrow, and then not quite a full-on slit, but narrow. So those are the 2 narrowest ones. The most narrow is on my right. This is the most narrow, and this one is the next to it as far as narrow. And they're magnets. I like how they've done the eyes lately. And again, I enjoy the Miles Morales character. And I hope you guys have gone and seen Venom. I really want to talk about Venom, but I'll give you this weekend to see him. Next weekend, if you haven't seen Venom by now, we're going to talk about Venom. We're going to talk a lot about Venom. So if you plan to go see Venom, go see him this week. We're going to talk about him next week. I'm assuming these are earmuffs of some nature. Hell, those could be musical headphones as far as my knowledge is at this point. We get the latest rendition of the lobster claw, which I'm really sick and tired of. It just went to the floor. That's how sick and tired of it I am. I'm just glad this guy wasn't $510. You know what I mean? $510 for Carnage. Or more. I think Big Bad Toy Store sells them for more. I think they're selling them for $15 more. I think he's $530 or $529 or something at Big Bad Toy Store. I don't know. But they have $4 shipping. So there's the trade-off. Let's get the instruction manual out here. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Spider-Man movie. Really looking forward to it. With all the rumors that are around, that Toby and Garfield are in it. Sheesh. I thought it was interesting in Justice League seeing J. Jonah Jameson as police commissioner. That was funny. That I got a kick out of. I'm like, Jameson. In the DC universe, you're Commissioner Gordon, huh? That was clever. I don't know anything about the Flash. I thought they did a pretty good story putting the Flash together. And I really enjoyed the competition, I guess, between Superman as a who's the fastest. Thought that was funny. Got a kick out of that. Superman is still Superman any way you look at it, right? He is still Superman. Calling the electric company, yeah. The electric company. The electric company. Don't remember much about the show. Except Spider-Man was in it. Have you seen the new pre-order Green Goblin from So-So Toys? I did not know that there was a new pre-order from Green Goblin from So-So Toys. When did that drop? Let me check. Let me open up these others. Places where I get my information from. I don't follow Facebook anymore for the most part. I am so through with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, Jesus. I can't even visit a website now without having to agree to their cookies policy on them tracking my personal data. What the hell? Shit, what the hell did they use for glue on this tape? Damn. Jeez. The tape, this little round piece of tape here wouldn't come off of this plastic. It literally ripped the hole in the plastic getting off there. It's crazy. What the hell? There's a 1/6 scale accessory set oil tank. That looks interesting. Oh, I ordered the 1/6 robot from Lost in Space, Robot B9. Ordered that, by the way. I want to see this oil tank accessory. That looks cool. XZY Toys SCS 001 scale bikini soldier costume set. This is supposed to be like a stormtrooper. That looks interesting. 1/6 scale. I don't see anything else on my regular news feeds that I get it from. Same issue on the backpack. I had to step away. Which figure is this? Right. This is the Miles Morales Spider-Man from the video game VGM 46 with the, I guess when I saw this, first thing that came to my mind was Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. So, but Spidey always has in the comics, especially Christmas time, we see him with a knit cap and a scarf. So it would make sense for him to continue on with this line. So this is the one that comes. This is the Spider-Man that comes. The Miles Morales that comes with the knit cap and scarf from the video game, PlayStation 5, right? Miles Morales was in PlayStation 5, wasn't in PlayStation 4, right? Hope that somehow DC will give Soso an official license. They are just knocking figures out of the park. You should search it up and let us know what you think. Just type Green Goblin Soso Toys on Google, then pictures. What site are you looking at? Oh, God. I look at Hot Toys America, Hot Toys China, Sideshow, Big Bad Toy Store, 1/6 Kit, 1/6 Outfitters, Alter Ego Giant Toys, and Toys Wonderland. I used to scan Facebook, and I used to scan the uh, the Falcon Hanger and the Good, the Bad, and the Robot, and there's a couple others out there that I used to look at as well. But I just narrow it down to these because, truthfully, what I'm looking for now is placing the order. So it's nice to see what's coming up, so we can talk about it. But really, I'm just looking for which ones I can place my order on and what's going to give me the best price and get it to me quicker. So that's why I have all those sites. That's why I have those specific sites. As soon as my computer stops acting up, I'll be able to search social toys in Google. Oh Jesus, I'm not gonna be able to reach the keyboard. I do find it interesting though that it's up and not on any of these sites as an item to be purchased yet. So I've got that searching. That's going to take an hour. Let's close Sideshow. We don't need that open anymore. Let's let this oil tank open up here. Have a peek at that. I want to look at this. Can't tell what it is from the image. The monitor's so small, but it looks like it's supposed to be stormtroopers or something. A bikini-clad stormtrooper. Wait for that to load up. I don't see anything interesting here on 1/6 Outfitters to look at. head sculpt for Tony Stark, made by Infinity Art Studio. They show him on the 46. I can't tell which armor it is. Is that the 46 concept? Nothing on Alter Ego. Giant Toys, I'm still waiting for it to load. Toys Wonderland, waiting for it to load. This oil tank's a neat little piece to put figures around, I guess. Need a diorama, it's $169. Made by ZBOB Toys. Z-Bob Toys. That's a Big Bad Toy Store. Pre-order. This looks like the other Green Goblin that they made a while back, isn't it? Yeah, this is the old Green Goblin. I mean, old. This was earlier this year. Now I decided to pass on him because he's comic-y. I was talking about that a little earlier, that I passed on this Green Goblin because he's too comic-y, and I'm not really collecting the comic book iterations of these figures. You know, like Sideshow makes a lot of comic book iterations of them, and I pass on them. I bought the the Deadpool one, because I'm buying like every iteration of Deadpool to represent every multiverse Deadpool that there possibly is. Well, no, this is I've passed on this. It looks good. I don't know anything else about it beyond that because it wasn't part of the collection that I'm buying. So that's that Green Goblin. Yeah, he was earlier this year. He was announced. What is this? It's called X2Y Toys SCS 001 16 scale Bikini Soldier Costume Set, 3 styles. And waiting for the pictures to open up. But it looks like it's supposed to be stormtroopers, women stormtroopers. Possibly would use a Jow or a Fison body for it. Waiting for these to come up. This computer takes forever and a day to do anything. I hate this computer. Jesus. Next releases are their Goblin something level, I can't remember, and then their Nightwing. No. Yeah, they announced that earlier this year, and it looks good. You know, if I was collecting the comic book versions, you know, and like I said, so far the only comic book version that I've bought that I can remember is Deadpool. Pass on the Punisher and the Thor and Captain America and Iron Man. Gosh dang it, I finally just pulled the trigger on the Hot Toys Iron Man throwback suits or whatever you want to call them. I I didn't want to get them forever, and because I was like, why? And I finally pulled the trigger on those, but. Ah, Warshack, yeah. The Fiend. I have the Fiend. I have the Fiend. He's over here in the first comic. I've got him. I think I've got him battling the wrong. No, wait. He's battling the right Spider-Man. I've got Doc Ock battling the wrong Spider-Man. So I have the Fiend. It's a difficult character to pose on his glider, but he looks great. There's the Fiend. And there's Doc Ock. I think that's the wrong Spider-Man, though, versus that Doc Ock. I think that's an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. There's Sandman down there with Spider-Man 3. But I think that's an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. There should be a Tobey Maguire down there. But yeah, that's the Fiend. Now, that one I got because it resembles the one from the Tobey Maguire movie. And I've got the Green Goblin 2, which is made by Hot Toys. He's not on display. He's not in the Detolf yet. You get him in a Detolf. I really like the Fiend. Like I said, it was a little difficult to get the ankles of the glider to all work together. But it sure looks good when you finally get it all up on there. That's a fact. Yeah. Yeah, the Sammy Goblin. Yep. Gambit. Oh, I'm wondering how he looks. I've not seen an actual image of him. I've only seen like a shadow of him, an outline. I've not seen what he actually looks like. And I don't know which Gambit it is. I don't know if it's Gambit from, the hell was that X-Men movie where Wolverine had to track him down. What the hell was the name of that one? The one with the kids. I guess they all had X-Men kids in it. That's kind of a stupid statement. The one with the first Deadpool in it. Is it that Gambit? Or is it comic book Gambit? Which Gambit is it? So by the way, they're letting you know right off the bat, don't try to take this spider emblem off the chest there. It's not designed to come off. If you take it off, you're going to destroy your Spider-Man. They show all the little articulation here of his legs and arms. Like I said, I used to do that in the videos when I was unboxing these and doing reviews of them. And just ruining my figures, stretching them all out, making them so they couldn't stand up properly anymore and the joints loose. Even though I would never move them like that, I'll just show you here. That's how much he can move. If I was getting this guy for free to show you, yeah, I would destroy him. But no, I'm not getting him free to show you. I'm getting him free to add to my collection. I mean, I ain't getting him free. I'm paying for him to add into my collection. If I was getting him for free, I wouldn't mind showing you how he moves about. But I'm not getting him for free. I'm paying for him. And I expect him to last as long as I can get him to last. So here's the head shifting or the neck posability. It's nice that they show that the neck can shift left and right on the shoulder. And then they show you the 4 sets of eye pieces. So there's one set that's on the helmet already, and then 3 interchangeable ones. So that's why they're showing 4, because there's actually 4 different eye pieces that you can use. And it's real easy. All you do is just press up here in this corner, just like they say, and it pops out. I mean, simple as pie. Took them a few figures to figure that out, and they've got that. They've worked that out perfectly. That works very well. All right, here's the backpack. It shows that to put the backpack on Spidey, pull this big plug piece out of the back of the backpack like such, and then just place it around Spidey. I have no problem calling Miles Morales Spidey. I recognize him as Spider-Man. He's a different Spider-Man. They didn't like claim that this is what Peter Parker was from the beginning. They did a good job of it. It's a different Spider-Man. Just like Gwen Stacy. It's a different Spider-Man. Spider-Gwen. In her universe, Peter Parker died. And she was the one that became powered with the power of a spider. I have a problem with when all of a sudden they tell you, oh, yeah, the Spider-Man that you've known for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, that's not Spider-Man. That never was Spider-Man. And I'm not talking about like when they did the Clone Wars and brought Ben Parker around. I'm talking about when they just up and say, oh, yeah, this is Captain Marvel. That's what Captain Marvel's always been. Yeah, that's not the case. I have a problem with that. Recognize it, obviously, as being an alternate universe. But Miss Marvel became Captain Marvel. There was an actual Captain Marvel before Miss Marvel became Captain Marvel. So they decided to write that whole new thing into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I had a problem with that. I'll say in the What If. Gosh, I didn't even see if there was a new What If this week. Oh my goodness. The last What If I watched was what if Odin didn't take Loki as a son? I'll say that the way that they portrayed Captain Marvel in that comic was pretty good. That was probably the best portrayal of Captain Marvel. And it was designed after Brie Larson's character, but she was a little more, I don't know, I just enjoyed her. I wish that they had done Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, live action Brie Larson in that manner, instead of doing it like that in the cartoon What If. That Captain Marvel I enjoyed. Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, she's a hard sell. And that's who the What If was. It was Brie Larson Captain Marvel. But maybe it was because it wasn't Brie Larson that made a difference. And I had no idea who Brie Larson was before Captain Marvel, so it's not like I walked into the Brie Larson movie with a predisposed opinion of Brie Larson. Like I've heard people say, for instance, when Tobey Maguire was chosen as Spider-Man 22 years ago, or however long ago it was, I remember people literally saying, I have no intention of going to see the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man because I can't stand Tobey Maguire. I'm like, what? I don't even know who the hell Tobey Maguire is at that point. I had no idea who he was. But I you know, so people are like, they'll get all bent out of shape over people hating on Brie Larson for being Captain Marvel. Well, hell, they hated on Tobey Maguire being Spider-Man. Topher Grace being Venom. You know, they hated on that. People are always going to hate on something. You know what I mean? So it has nothing to do with nothing other than just people are people. People hate. They don't love everyone. Kind of goes along with you can please some of the people most of the time. You can please most of the people some of the time, but you'll never please most of the people most of the time, or all of the people all the time. You can please some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you'll never please all of the people all of the time. You're always going to upset somebody. So this is cute. They're showing. So I guess there's really three ways of displaying Miles here. You can display him just as such. You can display him with his electric around him, or you can display him with his winter garb on, and it shows how to put that on. So let's go ahead and put his winter garb on. It's coming up to winter soon, right? I can't really tell if there's a fatter or a thinner end. There might be, and it might be to this right side. Might be the fatter end, so that might be the top compared to this left side, which may be the bottom. So that's how I'm going to put it on with that knowledge. And it says you just slip it right over the foot. I got to tell you, if No Way Home does the crossover with, because obviously we've already seen J. Jonah Jameson, and the trailers have shown us Doc Ock. So if they do the crossover and bring Toby and Garfield into the MCU Sony Spider Verse, I would really like to see a Miles Morales movie, live action next. I really would. I like Miles' character that much. That's the truth. Do I want him to replace Peter Parker? No, 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 no way. Do not want him to replace Peter Parker, not at all. I have no problem with a Miles live action movie. It'd be great, actually. Let's look at this box, see what it says, how high to pull this up. Where did I put the box at? I put it back in the package? I sure did. I like that they stand on their own. I sealed it up tight, didn't I? They got it up to just below his knee. Just below the knee. I guess there actually gets to be a point where it seems to stretch out about as far as it's going to stretch without stretching it out more. That seems to be that height right there. Yeah, I'm glad I got the Doc Ock and the Fiend, actually. Really pleased, as a matter of fact, with them. Really pleased with them. Yeah, and I've yet to see an image of the Gambit. So I don't know who he represents, which Gambit he represents. Or can I send you a link to Gambit from So Toys? Right here. You may have to spell it out. You know. Or tell me the name of the store that you're buying it from. Maybe I already have it in there somewhere. I can search it that way. There's pictures of him finally? Cool. You can already see how it's going to look. Cool. Look, it's time for another. Oh my God, Thomas, you have no idea. It's time to move out of this room. I have consumed the entire room. Totally. I have more in this room than this room can handle. The room's busting at the seam. This was like a Willy Wonka story. We'd be bursting the doors and the windows open. I've got figures I can't even display properly. I've got the new Vision. Bought two of those so I can put him together in his classic Vision. I hope that they make more of those Lokis. I hope you guys watched the Loki show on Disney. I really hope you guys did that. That was really good. Um, I hope you guys are watching the Disney shows. Was there a new What If this week, or is What If done? Because I have a feeling after watching it last week that What If is done for the season. It just felt to me like as if it was a season finale, the way it ended. It didn't feel like there would be an episode this week. It made me feel like as if, well, they're done with that. I think I saw, as a matter of fact, I'm thinking about this now. There was an image of this, and this might be a better way to display it, believe it or not. I kind of hate this way, but it does show off the cat. Whatever the story is with this cat, I have no idea. I think I remember seeing an image somewhere. Spidey carrying his cat on his belly. So if you feel so inclined, you can place him up there. And like I said, that might not be such a bad idea if you're if you're just displaying him in a Detolf, just straight on. You know, just saying, if that's what you wanted to do. Doesn't sound like that far-fetched of an idea. Or just set him at his feet. I wonder if even we could possibly put him in some type into his hand or something. Maybe with this handle. Let's look at that. So we get 2 fists for holding web. We get 2 solid fists for punching someone in the face. We get 2 spider thwips. I love yous. This is a new one. So it's supposed to be the spider plant, you know, where he's got his hands pressed against the building or something, and the fingertips are bent back. But they've spread these first 2 fingers out further than normal. So that's new. I don't remember seeing it done like that before. So that's interesting. So we have those 2, and then of course we have this grasping holding hand. So the question is, which ones this goes on, which is the web attachment, because he also has his web shooters on his wrist. So this goes to position itself right there, and then to be out as such, because the web shooters don't have a hole in them for the webbing. And what I was saying earlier was that what I don't like is when you put this thin webbing into this. Let's try that again. When you put this thin webbing into this web shooter, or the glob of web that's coming out of there, it just looks like as if it's all gummed up in his hand. You know what I mean? It don't look right. They need to make that thinner or something. And they did this because there's no hole on the web shooter. So, truthfully, what I'm inclined to do would be like I've done, I think it was with the Gwen figure, and that was just to stick it right underneath the costume. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you do this, you might damage your costume. Okay? So, you might not want to do this. But it's what I'm inclined to do, just because I hate that glob of web muck. But this is the web shooter. Comes off of his arm, and there's no hole in that. You know, truthfully, what I'd really be inclined to do truthfully, I wonder, and I don't know, just thinking out loud here, if you could take a drill bit just a little bit smaller than this and drill it into this little web shooter. Follow me? I'm talking about this would be not an easy task to do at all. But because this is pliable, very pliable. So you'd have to, for fact, get this held fast. I mean, in like a vice grip to keep this from moving. And then you're going to want to be very careful in drilling into this. But because it's pliable, you would go with a smaller, thinner bit than this because you'll stretch this out just a teens, sliding this in. But I think there's enough material that you could probably drill a hole in there and get that to fit in there. Now, I wouldn't do this if this was your only piece of this web shooter. So there are people that sell pieces of their Hot Toys figures. So if you were to do that, I would recommend tracking down a set of these web shooters specifically just to do that with. See if it would work. I think it'd be worth a shot. I might try that myself. See what the paper says, or which ones have the hands that swap out. Appears to be only the whip hands. So it shows the Todd Mcfarlane only goes into the one hand, which is the fist with the hole in it, and it shows that the web shooter portion only goes onto the thwip hands. Yeah, I love you hands. So the way that works, if you've not seen it before, is and we first really saw this back with Andrew Garfield, if I remember correctly, Spider-Man, where this came off, and they kind of revisited it again. I think it was a little different though. I think the fingers came off or something as well, didn't they? So you just separate that right off of the hand. You just pull it straight off, and then you would put on its place the corresponding one for that hand. And it fits nicely. But like I said, it just looks messy to me. It just looks messy. I think it was a good idea, but I think they kind of missed it on the execution. It's just too thick. So that's that. That's what I would attempt. I would track down another one of these web shooters and see if you could put that together in that manner. Because I don't really care for how that looks. I mean, I get it. I understand what it's supposed to appear to be. But it looks messy. It just looks messy. There it is on the arm in front of the web shooter. So instead of including these little wrist pieces and going through that whole process of designing all that, why don't they just include another web shooter with a hole in the gosh darn thing? Isn't that what they've been doing all along? Could they really not make this one so they can stick a hole in it? Did it really fall apart? I mean, is that really what's going on? I don't know. It just seems weird that they chose to do it in that manner. I don't know. I don't know. Now, there's no wire in here. So if you wanted to put a wire in it to make it stiff, to have it flow in a certain direction, you would have to do that yourself. I think this is the front with the little piece there on it. I think that's the back. So, what would be great also is if Toby and Andrew are back in Spider-Man suits. Maybe Hot Toys will revisit those characters. Give us some that aren't falling apart. Right? That's a lot to expect from Hot Toys, though, I must admit. And by the way, this suit feels like how the Spider-Man's been feeling for the last few times, made the same way. The spider emblem is hard here, but it feels like any other regular Spider-Man that's been coming out lately. The outfit does. And in case you've never seen it, this is how the Mcfarlane webbing goes in. Take the Spidey with the hole in it, the fist with the hole in it, which is what you would push that through. And it's real simple. Just put it through the top and the bottom. Just opens up. Just put it right on in there. And you could have it facing either direction. Either the log webbing is behind him or the long webbing is in front of him. So either he's running with it this way or spin it around. And it's webbing behind him that he's leaving behind him as he's going. Either or, you could have it displayed as such. So that's that webbing and how that looks on there in case you've never seen it displayed. And it's the same hand that you would use as I was talking about this other webbing. This guy with. And like I said, this is the one that if you have to force it in, stop. Do not force it in. It should go in with some ease. And it did. It went in very easy. So that is that. Same hand that you would use for that. But there should be just slight resistance. If you're having to force this through there, you need to open up this hole. You need to open this hole. Because I've broken two of these. I broke one at the top, and the other one I broke at the bottom. Because the hole was too tight. They've not changed this These are all coming from the same mold that they've come from the very first time that they made those. They're like identical. See the earmuffs. See if there's a top or a bottom. So there obviously is a top and a bottom. I'm assuming that's the top. I'm assuming that's the bottom, but I might be wrong. I'm going to assume that the fatter, wider portion is the top. And they actually show this going on over the knit cap. So let's put the knit cap on first. And so there's a seam that goes all the way from the top to the bottom of it. So I'm going to put that in the back. And they show it so that the cap is on there, not covering any portion of the eye piece. So all the way up here to this little tippy point of the eye, the cap is still not over that, is how they show it in the picture. So the whole portion of the eye is visible where the cap is. So that's how they show it in the picture of putting it on his head. So I'm going to try to do that as well. And then put this on. In the direction I think is the top. By the way, in case y'all don't know this, the reason I drop things is because I had an injury and I lost all feeling in my body. I mean, I lost all feeling in my body. Kind of like how in the movie Kick-Ass, that's how he got his superpower. Yeah, it didn't work like that. Anyhow, when they performed the surgery on me, they did a disc laminectomy to my entire neck. From C1 to T1, the entire neck. They cut out the back of the bone, like your dinosaur bones, like your Stegosaurus bones. Cut all those bones clean out, cut them out, and just left a channel for my neck of bone with no bone in the back at all. And then they screwed it all in. So I have very little neck movement. Now that's the extent of my neck movement. And of course, when you go to have surgery, they tell you there's three things that can happen. First off, they tell you can die on the table. And by the way, they tell you that even if you're having a hangnail removed. We're going to do surgery on this hangnail here and have it removed. You could die during the surgery. So, I mean, they're going to say that every time, no matter what. The second thing they said was they could perform the surgery and there'd be absolutely no improvement whatsoever. I could even end up losing the ability to walk, as a matter of fact. That's what they were saying. So, and then they said third possibility could be that they could perform the surgery and feeling would restore, but there would be no guarantee as to how much the feeling would restore. So, needless to say, I, of course, had the surgery done, and it took me 3 months to learn how to walk again. And as the feeling started restoring, I became hypersensitive in most of my body. So things that used to not be as painful or as pleasurable are heightened in that regards. But my toes and these two fingers didn't get their feeling restored. So the problem is, as I'm holding something, I can tell I'm holding it, but I can't tell how tightly I'm holding on to it. You know what I mean? So I can tell it's in my hand. And I think I'm holding on to it enough because I could get the feedback that I can't press my fingers together anymore really without pressing them really hard, because I'm getting that feedback that I'm pressing my fingers together. But I couldn't tell you exactly how hard I'm holding on to something. So I end up dropping things a lot because I think I'm holding on to it, and I'm not. I'm not holding on to it enough. So that's why I drop things. In case you were ever curious why I fumble fingers a lot, it's because I can't feel my fingers because of my neck injury. But no, I definitely wasn't becoming a superhero not having any feeling in my body. And the reason that is kind of like how I was just talking about feedback here. Your entire body works off of feedback. So the reason that you're able to reach out and touch something and pick something up off of something over here just by even just kind of like looking at it just slightly and knowing how far to send it away. Okay. So your eyeballs tell your brain how far you think it is, and then you move your hand in that direction, and your brain is telling your hand little minute changes left and right and up and down to get into that vicinity to grab that. And even more so with two eyes, you get the 3D ability to be able to know exactly how far something is in that regards. If you don't get feedback from your hand, if your hand or your arm or whatever isn't telling your brain where it is in 3D space, you're not moving your hand where you think you're moving it to. So even if I was looking directly at something, trying to pick something up when during those few days that I had no feeling in my body, as you move your hand, your brain's saying, "Okay, hand, go out," and it's like out there, and I'm telling it to go here, and that's because nothing is sending the signal back that it's going the direction that it is. So, like, if you're a crane operator or anything ever robotics, or if you ever controlled something with joysticks, and you know how hard it is to try to move something to get it exactly where it is to pick something up. Okay, all those minute adjustments that you make is from what your eyes are visualizing that going through. Okay, so and then you're able to adjust it in that manner. So what you end up missing when you don't have feedback is that ability to minutely adjust it. So as I'm telling it, okay, now move this way, my brain says move, a few inches this way, and my arm says okay, and moves like feet, because the brain and the arm, they weren't communicating. There was no communication from there. So in the Kick-Ass movie, where he'd lost all feeling in his body, he was able to take a serious ass beating, and he was able to walk around the world like as if everything was fine. Well, you're not walking like everything is fine. If you've ever had an arm go sleep on you, or a leg go to sleep on you, or a foot go to sleep on you, that's what it feels like throughout your whole body. It's just like a dead nothing. So there's absolutely zero feedback. So that's why I drop things. And that's why I didn't become a superhero, because I wasn't getting feedback properly. So, yeah, don't get bit by a radioactive spider. Don't over uh, um, expose your body to gamma radiation, and don't lose all the feeling in your body thinking you're going to become a superhero, because you're not going to become a superhero. I hate to tell you, you are not going to become a superhero. Not just from that special power. I did think it was funny, by the way, in Justice League, when I think it was Aquaman that asked Batman what his superpower was, and he says, "I'm rich." I thought that was great. Of course, Batman's superpower is not only is he rich, but he's a super genius, and he is trained in every possible fighting style that there is known to man. He knows how to fight in every possible fighting style. So that's really his superpowers. He's not only is he rich, he's a super genius, and he's been trained in every fighting style. Now, Tony Stark, uber rich. I would probably say Bruce Wayne is probably more rich than Tony Stark. Because not only does Bruce Wayne get all the government contracts like Tony Stark does, but Bruce Wayne has old money. And you kind of get the story from Iron Man, Tony Stark, that his money came from his father. I really don't remember it sounding to me much like possibly Tony's granddad was also rich. I don't know. He may have been. It may have started before that. I don't know. But you're kind of under the impression, or I'm kind of under the impression, that Tony Stark's money is what they would call new money, and Bruce Wayne's money is very, very old money, where it was made many years ago. And so I would say that Bruce Wayne is probably richer than Tony Stark, and Bruce Wayne knows every single fighting style. But they're probably equally intelligent. They're both super geniuses. Bruce Wayne, though, probably has an edge as well over Tony, because he never really abused his mind. He's always kept his mind clear and pure, where Tony had a serious alcohol problem, possibly even a drug problem in the comics. So you would imagine then that he's destroyed several brain cells, where I don't think Bruce has ever destroyed any brain cells. So if Bruce and Tony were ever to get into a fight, Bruce would so totally kick Tony's ass. Matter of fact, I'd go as far as to say that, and I've said this before, that Bruce Wayne can never be beaten by an adversary that he's had an opportunity to plan for. So if he knows who you are, he's kicking your ass. That's all there is to it. If he knows who you are, you're getting your ass kicked. Period. So Batman is the ultimate gadgeteer in that regards. I love Iron Man. Love Iron Man a lot. He ain't kicking Batman's ass. Sorry. He might be a little more powerful because of the suits. Okay? But Batman's going to shut those suits down. He's going to interrupt the feed on them, or electrocute them, or short circuit them, or something. He knows all about those suits by the time him and Tony are scrapping. It's on. The suits are going to be taken out of the picture. No, there's going to be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If Batman knows who you are, he knows how to defeat you. Simple as that. So yeah, I thought that was funny. What's your superpower? I'm rich. That was great. I've not seen the New Mutants. When is that? A lot of mine are still in the box. Oh, get your figures out of the box, man. For What If. This week was the season finale for What If. So they continued on. No, don't tell me. Don't tell me. So of course, last week was what was it? What if Ultron won? Is what last week's was. What if Ultron won? So I'm assuming then this week was not that one, right? So I got to watch it. But this is the season finale this week, huh? I got to watch. I've loved the What Ifs. I've loved them. Every one of them been good. One of them was kind of weak, but they've all been really good. Really good. I hope they continue on that line. I would love to see them make 52 of those a year. I swear to God, I would. I would love to watch a brand new one of those every single week. That would be great. My God. That would be great. A hot needle to spread open the little web shooter on the thing. Not such a bad idea. Take your time on that, because you want to create a hole. You don't want to destroy the web shooter. You know what I mean? A hot needle might work. It's a good idea. It's a good thought. Hot Toys has to release all the villains from Spider-Man. I want them all. See, here's a picture from that. They showed us the Rhino from Garfield's Spider-Man. Never happened. Never happened. So, got Electro, and nobody bought him. I bought my Electro for like Brand new. Brand spanking new. I bought my Electro for $50. Nobody wanted them. So I have Electro for $50. Should have bought two of them. And Hot Toys has been releasing a lot of villains lately. I know you're happy about that, Savon. Savon Mason is our villain collector. He focuses mostly on the villains. And that's what's nice about the hobby. Everyone has their genre that they can fall into in regards to that. Before this thing ends, I'm going to get the rest of these. I want to put these electricity on him. See how that goes. According to the picture here, it looks like this is the front of his body. And this is the back. It's what it looks like in the picture. So the 2 is the back. And the 1 is the front. And it appears it just will snap right over. Now, of course, they show it without his knit hat on and earmuffs. So I'll see if I can keep the hat and earmuffs on and still get this over there. A little difficult. You definitely want to decide if you're going to do a winter Spidey or an electric Spidey. But this goes here. And these are definitely two different arms, or two different pieces. And it looks like, from the drawing, and I don't think it matters though, but it looks like from the drawing, this one goes on his left hand, the one with the long one with a fork at the top, where this long one doesn't have a fork at the top. So it looks like this one goes on his left hand. And really simply, you just take the hand off. And this works a lot better than the mess that they did for years with Scarlet Witch. I hated those. And Electro, too. I hated how they did that. It was just ridiculous. They never really had a good plan on that. It never really fit perfectly. It's like as if they just said, throw some electricity in there. Just make some shit and throw it in there. Swear to God, that's the way it felt. Here's his display stand. It says Miles Morales on it. And there you have them. Didn't look too bad. Do them both up. Let's see what I got here. Not to make light of the situation you were in, but it sounds like trying to operate those kids' claws machines. Yeah, totally. Totally. No, you're right. That's probably a good way of understanding what it was like, for real. Not a joke at all. Siri, Robert, how you doing, man? Welcome to the channel. Siri, even if you was a superhero, you couldn't tell us anyway. Right? Isn't that the whole premise of the new Spider-Man movie coming out? That he wants everyone to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Oh. It's exciting. Can't wait to see that. Tony Stark's dad had money too. Yeah, so Tony Stark's dad is the one that got the money. You know, he's the one that originally... I'm under the impression Tony Stark's dad was the one that started all the government contracts and everything. As he did this super soldier project and building flying cars and all that. And as Tony says, you know, fought World War II and won because of his dad. The weapons that they made, you know, and Tony makes lots of references to his dad in the business. So yeah, Tony's dad had money, and from government contracts and such. But I don't get the feeling that Tony's granddad did. I don't remember if we ever made any comment on his granddad in regards to that. But Bruce Wayne's when he walks through his mansion, you just get the feeling that here's decades or centuries of rich Waynes in control of the whole thing. It doesn't you don't get the feeling that Bruce Wayne's dad was the first rich Wayne. You just don't get that feeling. Um, Maybe that was the case, and he just made it look like he had all this money. But you just get this feeling that Wayne Manor's been around for 300 years, like the Carnegies or something, where it's just been old money for a long time. Batman's superpower is prep time. He could defeat anyone with it. Absolutely, save all Mason. Absolutely. If he knows who you are, you're beat. If he knows who you are, you're defeated. Game over. He's already got the shark repellent on his belt. Whatever it is that he needs to kick your ass with, he's bringing it to the game. He's ahead of you. He's 3 moves ahead of you always. And Tony has alcohol and PTSD issues. Yes, he does. Bruce also had all of the various martial arts training. Yep. Tony just has his suits. Absolutely. Bruce knows, from my understanding, Bruce knows every fighting style in existence. Thanks, Spider-Man. You saved us. Batman, what are you doing here? Quick, put this on. Why is there an R on it? You're the new Robin. God. Iron Man had just jumped out of the Detolf, and Batman is on the floor. Kapow. Think Iron Man could hear you talk about the Suso Gambit is Cajun card dealer. Okay. That's an interesting way of calling it. They always have that little way of calling it without saying Gambit, the Cajun card dealer. And of course, anybody who knows Gambit understands exactly that that's who they're talking about. The Cajun card dealer. If you search that, you'll find pics of their game. Oh, okay. To me, it outclasses the coming Sideshow one completely. Really? Nice. Suso Toys has been doing good. Susu Toys, Soso Toys. Susu, I guess it would be Susu. In the Spider-Man universe, I wonder what people, civilians, call Miles Morales. Do they say, help me, Spider-Man, help me, Miles Morales? They call him Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man, right? See, I don't know that much about the comics of the creation of Miles. I only know Miles through the Into the Spider-Verse. And in that instance, he was forced into the Spider-Man story, which more or less is Spider-Man's story all along. He's been forced into becoming Spider-Man. It wasn't his wishes. And Miles, again, was forced into it, but into a predicament where he had to make a decision. And in this case, in the movie, it was because Peter Parker died. And he had to step up and become the new Spider-Man. So I don't know how he coexists with Spider-Man in the in the comics. I don't know if Spidey's dead and Miles took over, or if Spidey's alive and Miles coexist. But they'd both be Spider-Man. I suppose it would be confusing if you're yelling it to both of them, and they're standing there side by side, which kind of goes along with James Bond movie, by the way. Go and see that. Go see James Bond. If you're even a slight James Bond fan, if you've ever watched any James Bond movie in your lifetime, go see this movie. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it completely. I don't know if you noticed in the Killmonger, what if Tony is still an alcoholic? Yeah, because you remember he cleaned himself up after being stuck in that cave, and totally Killmonger just circumvented that entire thing. because you remember in the very first Iron Man, he had that travel case. It was an entire bar, and he says, "With every $1 million or whatever you spend, I'll throw in one of these." And it was a portable bar, and so he's drinking as he's being taken home. Remember, he talked about this is the party Humvee. You're in the non-party Humvee, or something to that effect. I forget what it was, but he sent um, Rhodey off to go get in the other Humvee because he wanted to go into the party Humvee because he was still all about getting drunk, totally all about getting drunk. So when Killmonger saved him, nothing changed. He never had that shift in his life to clean himself up. He never had to face death, literally face death straight in the eye, like he did in that cave. That was his shift, and then that's when he really took into the knowledge of the Stark weapons being used. Yeah, he noticed it as it blew up on him in both universes in that instance, um, and it pissed him off. But it really pissed him off in the cave. So that's when he cleaned up his alcoholism. He's still getting drunk because if you remember in Iron Man 2, he was getting drunk on his birthday party, but really that's what caused him to get away from all that. I think was that cave, and he needed to start getting his senses to himself. And I think this last big drunk binge was that party, but he thought he was dying at that point. He was going out with a bang. He didn't give a shit anymore. He couldn't figure out any way of stopping the poisoning from the arc reactor in his chest. So he's like, "Fuck it. If I'm gonna go out, I'm going out big, I'm going out with a bang, I'm getting drunk, burning the house down, and just having a good time." He didn't give a shit. He was done. And I like that what if also about what if the Avengers um, died? What if the Avengers were killed? That was interesting. That was very interesting. So probably people think he likes changing different outfits, like black Spidey, red, blue Spidey. Well, no, because Spidey talks. The only Spider-Man that didn't talk was Electric Company Spider-Man. He didn't say a word. But obviously, Miles Morales and Peter Parker talk differently. Two different voices. I think Peter has a higher pitched voice than I think Miles from the comic, the movie, has a lower pitched voice. And even lower when he's congratulating his dad. Doing good out there. Keep it up. Could Batman have snapped his fingers and made everything right again? Thomas, that's a good question. Wow. I would say no. I don't believe that Batman has Tony's heart. If that makes any sense to you, that's probably the only way I could explain that. I think Tony's heart is in a different place than Batman's heart is. I think Bruce is a little pissed off. And I think Bruce is a little touched in regards to being just a little bit crazy. I think Bruce is crazy, and I don't think he has the heart that Tony has. Of course, he doesn't. Tony had shrapnel in his heart and had, so he definitely always has a different heart. But I mean, I think Tony's heart is in it differently than Batman's heart. Bruce Wayne's heart is. I don't think Bruce would have been able to snap his fingers. That's a good question. I'm not saying that Bruce would be afraid to die. I think Bruce puts his neck on the line every night, hoping to die in a weird way. If that makes any sense. Bruce is complicated, but I don't think Bruce would have snapped his fingers. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Wow, I never thought of that. Would Bruce have snapped his fingers? Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, all those suggestions, Robert. Yeah, no doubt. Miles and Venom, all the same guy. Hmm. Right, right. War Machine and Iron Man. Right, right. Until they saw the two of them together, which kind of was the question in Secret Wars too, when Rhodey was getting his armor fixed. And like, surprised to see a black man in a suit. Hmm. It's interesting, wasn't it? Oh, you're getting your Captain Rex. Nice. Man, I tell you, oh, if I started in on Star Wars, man, I'd have to buy a new house. I don't even know how many stormtroopers there are. And I'm talking about all stormtroopers. I'm talking about anybody that wears any type of a armor, imperial armor. I'm talking first order, I'm talking about clone troopers, all of them. I have no idea how many Hot Toys is, and Sideshow and the other company, I forget who that was making them before Sideshow took over. It may have been Sideshow all along, just using a different name. I don't know, but I don't know how many stormtroopers are there. Jesus, a couple hundred easily. There's more stormtroopers than there are Iron Man figures. I'll tell you that much. That's a fact. Hell, the gosh darn Mandalorians are starting to catch up to the Iron Man quantity. I mean, how many Mandalorians are there now? I'd say over 20, easily over 20. With like, how many versions of Boba Fett are there? Like 10 versions of Boba Fett alone, right? I really am struggling to stay away from the Star Wars collection. My God. And after watching the gosh darn Justice League, I want to get that lineup. I want to get Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Aquaman, Flash. I want to get the Justice League. I really enjoyed that movie that much. I really did. Sheesh. The only Stormtrooper worth getting is original. Yeah, I suppose if you were going to do that collection and just say I have one Stormtrooper, there you go. Which original though? A Sand Trooper or a Death Star Stormtrooper? Which one's the original? The ones with the pauldrons on their shoulder, or the ones that are walking up and down the Death Star? Heart. It's interesting. That's a good thought, Thomas. That is interesting. That's how Iron Man would win in a fight. Heart. That would be the only way he would beat Batman. That would be that would be a good matchup. If somebody kept in mind Tony's heart against Batman, against Batman's brains and fighting skill, Tony's heart. That's deep. Hmm. Snow Trooper, Biker Trooper. Then it gets Star Trek. I wish that they. Oh God, don't get me started on Star Trek. Oh my God, I absolutely love the Star Trek franchise. Love it. Probably more so than I do Star Wars. Definitely more so than I do Star Wars. Actually, if you played the game, they did a job about they because he was young. He really just protected Harlem. Miles is their Spider Man, and they have fought crime together. So people know there's two. So So Miles did the borough, Harlem, and then Peter did the rest, huh? My lord. QMX. Oh my God. That's another line. that Star Trek line. My goodness, those figures look amazing, and I love Star Trek. Absolutely love Star Trek. Totally love Star Trek. I'm really angry about this Star Trek Discovery or whatever the hell series it is. I haven't even watched a single episode. I've just seen enough footage of it to just be so turned off on the thing and just be pissed off as it was. I mean, I hated Enterprise when it first came out, and they were able to convince me to like it and accept it. But there's no way Discovery is not getting accepted by me. No, no, it's not a chance. Mark my words. And in 5 years, I'll recant that and say, oh, yeah, I love Discovery. It's the best Star Trek ever made. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just too far outside of what I would call the canon Star Trek. In all actuality, because Discovery's on TV, it would have to be canon. But it just totally rewrites everything. I mean, just totally rewrites it wrong. And I got a big problem with that. Big problem with that. Quebec Turk Spock McCoy Con card. Oh my God. I love my Jean-Luc. Thank you very much for sending me that Jean-Luc Picard. I love him. He is an amazing figure. Love him. And it's so hard not to buy all of the Star Trek figures as well. It'd be a smaller collection, be easier to get because they haven't made that many of them. But oh God. I don't have room for my characters that I have. Still need to figure out what I'm going to hell do with this gosh darn Steve here. I don't want to use the angry, pissed off Steve head, so I'm struggling with that still. Buzz Like there, how you doing, man? Welcome. We're about to wrap the show up. I think I've kept you all long enough. It's been 2 hours plus. Admiral Kirk, Captain Spock. I'm going to get the Bikini Stormtroopers. Oh, yeah, I never got that opened. Let's have a look at that. Never got that open. Oh, that looks nice. That's cool. They call it the Sex Conversion Series. Interesting. That looks cool. So you get a red, black, and a white Stormtrooper, and they are in the New Order helmets or First Order helmets, not the classic series Stormtroopers. Now, so I watched this interesting show one time about the people that make the Stormtrooper helmets, and evidently, somehow, I guess they have the trademark or the copyright or something on those helmets. So the original Stormtrooper helmets, or something that I was watching on some television show, this place in England, I think is where they are, or UK or something, where they make these helmets, and they literally have somehow have acquired the trademark or the copyright or something on these helmets. And I think that's why when they transitioned over into the newer Star Wars, that they totally changed the helmets out because the helmets from A New Hope, which I hate calling it that because we just called it Star Wars, and such. Those helmets were now owned by this other company in regards to things. So, but yeah, this looks nice. Red, black, and white. That looks pretty cool. That looks really cool. Very sexy. Put you a Fison or a Jow doll figure into that. I don't know whether or not you would use the detachable feet, and whether the shoes pop into it or not. Let's see if it says in the instructions which figure they're using. Or not in the instructions, but the information here. It's like it's only $84 for this. X2Y Toys SCS 001 16 scale Bikini Soldier costume set. Figure not included. They suggest you use the TV League S10D or S12D. Let's see what those are. S10 and the S12. Detachable feet. 10's pale, 12 is suntan. Same figure. Um, Large breast. Pale is the S10D. Suntan, large breast, is the S12D. The interchangeable feet. So along that line, then, you could use any interchangeable foot Jow doll as well. Um, and they're using the large breast one here with that. So an 05, a 10, and I wouldn't use the 9 because those are interchangeable feet, or the seamless feet. So the 10s, the 5s, Jow dolls. 5s, I think, are the small breast ones. So, but they definitely recommend a large breast one, so 10. So Jow doll 10. 3 color styles of the costume set. Listing prices for one color only. Please remark whether you want the white, the red, or the black, A, B, or C. Comes with a helmet, one pair of shoulder armor, one pair of arm armor, one set of belt and waist bag, one pair of thigh armor, one pair of calf armor, one pair of platform high heels, one T-stick, one pistol, 4 hands, one bikini bra, and one bikini briefs. It looks really cool. Looks pretty fun. If you want to put some spice into your Star Wars collection. Hell, I might just order these. They look fun. They certainly look fun. Trying to drag no characters into it, but feels. Chewbacca looks better in a bikini. Take a Chewbacca head and put it on one of those. They should have said from the start Discovery was all new and it would have been accepted more. They totally rewrote everything from my understanding. I mean, the Klingons and they've these creatures that they're using to navigate the ships with, and oh god. And it's supposedly before Kirk, from my understanding, right? Huh? You know, so one of the things I had a problem with was when Picard got the Enterprise, he had never seen a holodeck, and I think Riker also. They were new to both of those actors or characters. So the Galaxy class must have been the first or one of the first ships to have a holodeck put in it. And then next thing you know, they're freaking everywhere, backwards in time and everything. It's like, no, there was no holodeck before the Galaxy class starship, and neither Riker nor Picard had seen one. Three D printing a stormtrooper helmet, nice for like full size to wear. Still looking for a proper Fison or Jow body from my Alita figure. She is about the same size as the in-game Black Widow, pretty small. That would be your 05 Jow dolls, are the small breast ones. So JOQ05 would be the small breasts Jow dolls. Yeah, let's see. That's what I'd recommend. JOQ05 something, depending on what skin tone that you need. Yeah, JOQ05, right? 10C is the middle bust, and 5 is a small bust. So JLQ05 is a small bust, and JLQ10C is the middle bust. And 10E is the big bust. Very big bust. Paler side, and you will probably want to go with the I think the wheat skin is the pale, right? Because now gel doll, they have lots of color skins. They have a pink and a white, and I'm talking about it's white like old Elizabethan white, blue vein white. And then I think the wheat skin is closest to like a natural white. So depending on how pale she goes, you may want to go with the WS, which is the white skin, or WS01, which is the new white skin. Or if you want a little pink skin, it'd be the PM, is the pink skin. The new white, the new wheat is BS01, and BS is the wheat. So if you're going with the wheat skin, which is probably closest to the it's in between like Fison's pale and suntan, the wheat skin is, if I remember correctly. So that's the BS, the BS01, and then you have the pink skin is the PM, and then the WS and WS01 are the white skins, and I'm talking they're white, not white like Vampirella, like Lady Death white, but white like Elizabethan white, where they've never been out in the sun, like what was her name from Diane Chambers from Cheers? That white skin. Figure on the left, the yellow jack, Joy from Blade Runner. This was made by I forget, and I'm Fisoning her. I did her already, and I ordered the second Fison to use for her, and I like this Fison figure better than the Joy figurine that they used. And I'm seeking, however, a seamless foot to be able to do this with her. If you remember Blade Runner, the demo doll or figure. So I'm looking for a seamless in order to be able to build that. And I've not found a seamless with this size breast. So that's the current seek. F is the seamless feet in Jow Doll. And they only make the 09F, which is a big bust. So all the seamless ones are big bust for Jow Dolls. So I'm trying to find one that's not a big bust seamless foot, so I can do my Joy properly. That Joy from Blade Runner. There's a size difference between the two from when she comes from the box and then turned into a Fison. And so I have another outfit because Joy comes with two outfits. So I'm going to Fison her with the other outfit. I'm not Fisoning Michelle Johnson. She doesn't need it because even in her skirt, you don't see her knees. So it's not necessary. So that's those. So I'll be building this Joy in one of these weeks, putting her in her other outfit, which is over here in this pile. God, I need to spend a week just taking care of this room. Oh my goodness. Double-headed eagle, the girl from Blade Runner, the new one. Yep, yep. Black Box Toys. Thank you. That's correct, Buzz. Black Box Toys. God, thank you, Buzz. That's quite an honor. I'm starting to buy from those little 3-inch Marvel retro figures on the cards. Nice. Really like the card art and enjoying them. Retro Marvel feels better knowing not Hot Toys prices, no doubt. And I will refuse to call her MJ. I refuse to call her MJ. That's Michelle Johnson. That's not MJ. God, that just makes my skin crawl. Ugh. And you know, they did that just to piss people off. I have no problem if they wanted to make God forgive me, I forget her name, Zadoya, to play Mary Jane. I wouldn't have had a problem with that. You know, I would not have had a problem with that. You know, if that's how they wanted to present her, that's fine. But to give her a new name, a new identity, and then to use the old nickname for her, that there was just no point in that. That's stupid. Because there's still a Mary Jane Watson out there someplace in that universe, unless she was killed at birth or something. You know what I mean? There's an MJ out there. All right? Mary Jane was not Peter's first girlfriend. For real. I mean, the fact that they would even try to throw that in your lap like that's where his first love interest was. Mary Jane came after Betty, right? And Gwen. Oh my God. Gwen shaped Peter. My goodness. They just throw MJ out because, of course, they've got someone who has no knowledge about Spider-Man, you know, trying to screw with everybody. Oh, we're really going to shake them up. Let's make Mary Jane look like this. You know, just to be an asshole. Come on. No need for that. If they wanted him to have Michelle as his girlfriend, then make Michelle his girlfriend. You know, shit. It's just stupid. It was just plain stupid. You know, it's like when they were doing the 7, 8, and 9 Star Wars, and here's these idiots that they hired to create those movies, and this one idiot's like, no, I've never even watched Star Wars. I don't know anything about it. But I'll tell you what, we're not going to have any princesses in this. They got Princess Leia in the other Star Wars. We're not making any princesses in our Star Wars. Dude, Princess Leia was far from what anybody would consider a princess. She was pure on, straight up ass kicking. She wasn't no princess like he was trying to imply. You know, they get these idiots who don't know anything about anything and put them in charge of everything. And then they wonder why nobody makes any money. Where's your brain? Where's your brain? Let's see, Betty, Gwen, MJ, and Liz. He even had a little thing with Liz. I mean, a real minor thing with Liz. But she was Liz wasn't necessarily the most friendliest of people. And don't forget Felicia Hardy. Don't forget her too. Yep. Did he? Kitty Pryde? No, I didn't know about that one. I don't know where my shipping problems are coming from, but I'm the last person on the planet to get any figure, it seems. So I'm always having shipping problems out of Hong Kong. Ever since COVID's happened, everything's gotten even worse. So, holy cow! I've kept you guys over 2.5 hours. I'm glad to have you all. I really am. Um, oh, by the way, um, for those of you that have been paying attention to anything, I mean, not paying attention to anything, but been listening to things I've been talking about, I'm in the process of trying to buy a new Corvette. I've never bought a Corvette before. And I'll tell you, it's interesting because I have a Bumblebee Transformer Camaro, which I love. So I belong to the Camaro group, and I was talking to one of the guys in the Camaro group that is a car salesman at one of the local Chevrolet dealerships, and I said to him when I decided I want to buy a Corvette. So let's back up even further. So in 2019, when the the Corvettes were being shown, the new C8 mid-engine Corvettes were being shown, I showed a picture to my wife, who at that time was alive and well, and I said, I'm gonna buy this Corvette. And I said it very matter of factly and very proud and prominently, expecting to be shot down instantly. And she said, what are you going to do with Bumblebee? And I said, I'm going to keep them. And she goes, you're going to have both of them? I said, yeah. And she goes, okay. And I was quite shocked that she didn't say, no, you're not buying that. And so that was really cool. But however, little did I know, just a couple months later, she ended up having a cardiac arrest and she died, and they brought her back to life, and my life turned totally upside down at that moment, and everything changed for me, and there was no Corvette in the future at all at that point. um, so I totally forgot even that had even decided I wanted to buy a Corvette from that moment on. And so we ended up buying a van that had wheelchair chair access for her and everything else. And then when she died, passed on her second time and didn't come back, uh, I was started going through the process of selling the van. And my neighbor says, well, why don't you just keep the van? Now, it was a van that was outfitted specifically for hauling wheelchair people confined to a wheelchair. It wasn't a cargo van. It wasn't a van designed for hauling passengers. It was literally customized into literally holding a wheelchair and a caregiver. That was it. It wasn't a van for any other reason. And I told him, I said, because this is first off, I said, never in my lifetime I ever thought to myself, hey, I'd like to own a van for most part. And it was never really a dream of mine to own a van. I said, I said, secondly, this van can't be used for anything else. It's not a cargo van. It's not a personal, passenger van. It's specific needs van, totally. And I no longer have that specific need, and hopefully we'll never ever have that specific need ever again. And I said, and thirdly, and this I just kind of got a little smart ass here. I said, thirdly, if I was going to spend that kind of money on a vehicle, I'd have bought a Corvette. And that just kind of rolled off of my lips. And all of a sudden I was like, hell yeah. Why the hell aren't I buying a Corvette? So I've sold the van, and I went down and contacted my acquaintance who works as a salesperson at a Chevrolet dealership because I'd like to buy a Corvette. And I'm ignorant to all of this. I've never bought a Corvette before. I figured you just go down there and bam, 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 give them your money, fill out the build sheet, and off it goes, and you get in the Corvette in a couple of months. He's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. We're looking at probably 18 months to get you a Corvette. I said, are you freaking kidding me? So now this is back in like April this year, or May. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And he's like, nah, it's 18 months to buy a Corvette. I said, how the hell is it 18 months? And he goes, well, there's allocations, and the Chevrolet only allocates Corvettes to dealerships that are selling Corvettes. If you're not selling Corvettes, they're not going to give you Corvettes. In order to get Corvettes, you have to sell Corvettes. Well, I said, isn't that kind of like backwards thinking? He goes, well, no, because if you have the clientele, if you have the people that live in the area that are buying Corvettes, the dealership will get the Corvettes from other dealerships that have allocations, and they'll show the Corvette moving out of that dealership, and then the Chevrolet will increase the allocations based off of how many Corvettes move out your door, more or less. And he goes, and our allocation isn't that much. I mean, we get them, we're allocated them, but we don't get that many of them. So you're looking at 18 months. So I was like, well, damn. So then I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, what's the number one selling Corvette dealership in the country? Corvette, out of Kerbeck Chevrolet out of Lansing, New Jersey. So I called them up and told them that I was sold 18 months. The guy says, no, it won't be 18 months through our dealership. We have a lot of them allocated. We're the number one selling retailer of Corvettes and have been for decades. We sell more Corvettes than anybody does. For decades we have, every year. And I said, okay, well, what's the process? And he goes, well, there's several steps involved. It's a wait rush process. So first off, what we need to do is we need to secure you an allocation number. So you send us $1,000 and your information, and so we can put you in our system and mark you down as somebody that plans on buying a Corvette, and you're on the list. Chevrolet has told us that we're getting, and I don't know what the number is. He didn't tell me, but they're being allocated. Uh, Gosh, I don't know, 1,000 Corvettes or something is what they're being allocated. This dealership is, compared to the one that I was talking to, is being allocated like 4 or 10 or something, and that's because Quebec is going to sell 1,000 Corvettes. So you're put on this allocation here. When we get to you on the list, we'll call you, and you'll then order your Corvette. You'll build your Corvette based on your build requirements. Determines then how long it takes for the Corvette come. And when you place your build, you have to put down, I don't remember whether it's 5% or 10% of the purchase price of the car, or more if you're getting a specialty car. So if you're buying a car that they're not going to be able to just sell to anybody, for instance, if you back out of the deal and they've got it coming into the dealership and they got to sell it, if it's a common, easy one to sell, then they're just going to still only require the 5 or 10% or whatever it was that they said they needed at the day you order it. But if you're ordering something that's only designed for track racing, the air conditioner has been deleted on it, no radio, just a seat and maybe, whatever, and it's a specific Corvette, you're going to be paying a hell of a lot more than just that 5 or 10% down when you first place your order. In case you back out of it, they're wanting to make sure they can sell that and get their money back on it, because it's something that not everyone's going to be able to buy or want to buy. So they'll call me when it gets to my allocation point. I'll send them my build sheet or build my car at that point and give them, and I don't remember, like I said, it's either 5% or 10%. And then again, based off of your build requirements, determines how long it takes Chevrolet to build it. For instance, if you order like I think red mist metallic is probably the most common color currently. If you're ordering a red mist metallic car with the basic features that everyone is getting, and they're building that, bam, 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 yours going to get built pretty quickly. But if you're going to order like a color that's probably not that many of them are being made, like a yellow or an orange or their caffeine brown that they're making now, you're probably going to be a little longer out until they get to the point where they have a bunch of those that fill the paint canisters up to paint those cars. Because they're not going to build one caffeine brown Corvette, spend all this money on paint, and just push one down the line. They're going to burn a bunch of those caffeine brown cars at one time. So based off of what your build choices are and what Chevrolet's building determines how long it will be from the moment you turn your build sheet in to the point that you get your car built. So where I'm at in this entire process now, I gave them my $1,000 in May. I think it was May 29th was when I put my $1,000 down on it. And Quebec is now called Sioka Chevrolet. Sioka now owns Quebec, so they call it Sioka, formerly Quebec, which I thought was interesting. Why would you not use the Quebec name? Because everybody knows the Quebec name, but now it's Sioka. Where I'm at now is probably at Christmas time, more or less, is when my number will come up, when I'll get a phone call saying, okay, time to build your Corvette. And then I will go on to Chevrolet.com, choose my options that I want on my car, send that to the dealership, send them the 10% or whatever it is that they require, down payment, and that build sheet will get sent right into General Motors at that point. And then probably 2 months will be the build time, rough guess. So probably in February or March, I could be taking delivery of my new Corvette. And I'm pretty excited about that. And it's an amazing feat of mechanical genius. And the nice thing about it is you can get a brand new Corvette for just over $60,000. You can buy an LT1 Corvette, base model Corvette, for like $61,000 or $62,000. It's amazing how inexpensive they are. And in comparison, so I have a Camaro, 2SSRS Camaro, a ZL1 Camaro, top of the line Camaro, $77,000 or something like that from Chevrolet. So you can spend $77,000 on a Camaro, or you can spend $60,000 on a Corvette. Now, granted, this is a top of the line Camaro, but it's still a Corvette, even at only $60,000. So they're not an unattainable car. We're not looking at $100,000 plus car. Corvette isn't. They're not. You can get them that way. You certainly can. My God, you can really outfit those. You can spec those to be well into the six figures. But you can pick up a base model Corvette LT1, which is still a Corvette. It's still the same engine for $60,000. So it's not outside of reality. My van costs way more than that. The van that I bought for my wife was way more than that. So, like I told my neighbor, if I was going to spend this kind of money on a vehicle, I'd buy a Corvette. And that's how this now became, again, another path along that line, because my wife already told me I could buy it. So I got her blessing. So I'm going to get a Corvette. I'm really excited about that. Their engine is a mid-engine now, so they totally redesigned the Corvette. Totally redesigned. It's like no other Corvette. The C8 Corvette is like no other Corvette. I have a Mercedes Benz, I had the van, and I had the Camaro. So I had three vehicles, and I was the only driver. Both the Mercedes and the van were pushing six figures, close to six figures. So I can't imagine my Corvette insurance being that much more, because I don't drive much. You know what I mean? The Camaro gets driven maybe 12 times a year. Maybe. It used to get driven probably 20 times a year before COVID for the car shows and everything that I took it to, but and cruises and such. But since COVID, nobody's done nothing. So I have to force myself to take the Camaro out to get driven anywhere. And the van was only driven just to take my wife to her doctor's appointments and such that she needed. And the Mercedes that I drive most of the time. I have an E300 Mercedes, 2018 E300 Mercedes. And I bought that in 2018 because as my wife was getting older, she was having difficulty keeping the car on the road. And she had a C230 Mercedes. So I bought it for her. It was really why I bought it. And because the Mercedes drives itself. Now, a lot of cars drive themselves nowadays, but the Mercedes was driving itself in 2018. And I mean, for real, drives itself. Not just adaptive cruise or lane assist. I mean, drives itself. And so I wanted that for my wife as she was having difficulty driving her car. I didn't want her to be unsafe. So I bought the Mercedes for her in 2018. I gave it to her for Christmas, as a matter of fact. That was her Christmas gift in 2018. The Mercedes was. So no, my insurance for all three of those vehicles a month was, and house insurance as well. So my house, the Camaro, the Mercedes, and the van. So all four of those on insurance a month was $350 a month. So I don't find that to be that unreasonable. So now the van's gone, and my insurance is now $260 a month, I think, for the Camaro and the Mercedes and the house. And the Mercedes is insured to the teeth because I guess people like to target Mercedes Benzes for whatever reason. Maybe get involved in a car accident with one because they think you obviously have money. So no, I don't think the Corvette's going to be a problem in regards to insurance in that stipulation. I have an excellent driving record, and I don't drive it much, so I'm not worried about the insurance on it at all. As far as cars go, people will shit on your price wise. Oh, 2,000 plus. If you get one and sell it, I give you $100. What's funny is Kerbeck sells them at manufacturer suggested retail price. So the sticker that comes from Chevrolet, that's what you pay. Sioka, that's what you pay for your Corvette. So you pay sticker. There is a dealership that has a Corvette here close to where I live. It is an $80,000 Corvette. Okay, sticker from Chevrolet, $80,000. They have their dealer markup on it to an additional $80,000. So that Corvette will cost you $160,000, and it's just a 3LT Corvette. There's nothing fancy schmancy about it at all. But the problem is, with COVID and with the automaker strike, there wasn't that many Corvettes made in the last 2 years. So the 2020 and the 2021 model Corvettes are limited production runs. So if you want a Corvette, you either wait 18 months or you go to the dealer and you pay a huge dealer markup on them. So buying it from Sioka and waiting months for it, I get it at manufacturer suggested retail price. Literally what Chevrolet says that the Corvette is the price I pay. Simple as that. I can't beat that. And the Corvettes are supposed to be EV in like 2025 or something like that. If I remember correctly, they're making an electric Corvette in 2025. I think that's what I heard. The new C8s are a whole different ball of wax, and um, they're a whole different ball of wax. Totally different. I love the C4s. I love the C3s, the C2, C1s, of course. I don't care for the C5s, 6s, or 7s. The 7s are okay, but the 5s and the 6s I don't care for. I'm not a C5, C6 guy. C7s are kind of okay. The C8s, they look like a freaking Lamborghini or a Ferrari, for real. Oh no, I won't be buying it on. I'll be paying cash for it. I've got the money from my van, so I have the cash to pay for the car. It won't be over time. And the normal price literally is the suggested retail price, so I'm getting it at a normal price. Get the Corvette that has the convertible roof, and that's what I'm getting, Thomas, the convertible roof. And it's the first time that it's a hardtop convertible. So they've made convertible hard tops, but it's still a soft top convertible. The hard top you'd have to store. I mean, they've had those from the beginning, more or less. But this one now actually is the first hard top convertible. So when the top is up, it's like driving a coupe, which people say, don't buy a convertible because, you always have the wind noise and it's, heating and cooling is a nightmare, and because it goes right through the material of the soft top. No, it's a hard top. It's a hard top convertible. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm buying. I think it's I don't remember, $3, $4, or $5,000 more for the convertible over the coupe. I don't remember. And the coupe still has the removable rooftop, so you can still buy just the coupe and get the removable rooftop, which has the glass showing the rear engine behind you, the mid-engine behind you. So if the coupe, the window in the back shows the engine. You can see the engine. On the convertible, you cannot. So that's the main difference on that. And I wanted a convertible first off, but what really sold me on the convertible was when I was watching all the videos of the coupes of people getting the water from rain or taking it through a car wash, goes right into the engine bay, and it's designed for that way, okay? And so your engine just gets totally just dirtified from rain and whatever else that goes in there. And so it's on display through the window. You can see the engine compartment all the time. So if you're planning on detailing your engine bay every time you drive the car, or if you're planning on keeping it out of water totally forever, then the coupe is not going to be a problem. I don't plan on doing either one of those. If I happen to be caught in a rainstorm, I get caught in the rainstorm. The nice thing about living where I do in Northern California is it doesn't rain for an entire 6 months out of the year. So it'll start raining in October. So this month we'll see rain towards the end of the month, and then it will rain November and December and January and February. And starting around February is when the rain stops. Somewhere between February and April, there's no more rain. And then we go the entire summer and the entire fall, no rain at all. None. No rain. So you can drive your car for at least 6 months, not having to worry about any water getting on your car, unless you put it there yourself. Figured a decent used to be $10,000 to $20,000. Yeah, you can buy a C4 for probably under $10,000, as a matter of fact. You sure can. You sure can. And I love the C4 Corvettes. I think they look great. Like hell, get a ZR1. Those are I can't imagine those being more than 20,000. I don't know. Try selling it when you have it. Buyer, I'll give you $100. Let's see, what about it? Rather get kit from Knight Rider. Oh, those are cool. I've seen lots of those on YouTube. I love a Stingray Corvette with the curves. Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, this is the version I'll be getting is a Stingray R. That's what it's going to be called. Stingray R. A 2022 C8 Corvette will be what I'm buying. But I like them all. I would like a 58 C1. For the C2, I'd want a 67. For the C3, I'd want a 72, 73. For the C4, I'd want a ZR1 or a Grand Sport. So when was the ZR1s were from like what 87 to 91, I think was the ZR1s. And the Grand Sport was 92, I think was the Grand Sport with the LT4 engine in it. C5, C6, I have no interest in them. C7, I think they made a Grand Sport C7. I'd want that. And then, of course, C8, pretty much can't go wrong on any C8, truthfully. That's what I would do. Yeah, 70, 73. I'd like to get the one with, what is it? I think they made a side pipe 427 in 73, I think. I think it would be great. I think that's what it is. That would be a great 70s model Corvette. Definitely the Coke bottle Corvette is what they call that, for fact. So the on the C's, that's the generation. So a C8 Corvette is the eighth generation. So C1 Corvette was from 1953 to 1960, I think. I don't remember. And then the C2s, the second generation, started with that, whatever it was. I think it was 61, maybe. I don't remember. 61 till I think 69 or something. I don't remember. I don't know exactly what the years are where these generations come. And then the C3 start with the Coke bottle shaped Corvettes. So that goes until 1982. And that's only because in 1983 they did not make a Corvette. There is, I think, like less than 10 Corvettes that actually have a 1983 VIN number. And they are C4 Corvettes. And so that ran from 1984 until 1992, I think. And then the C5 Corvette started with that. And I don't know when they transitioned into the C6 or the C7. I think the C7s started around 2014, maybe. I don't remember when the C7 started. And then the C8s, eighth generation Corvette, started with the year 2020. 2020 is the first year for these Corvettes. That's the C8s, 2020. And the Z nomenclature is a package. So like in the Camaros, there's ZL1, Z28, and the pickup trucks they have Z66 and Z71, and the Corvettes have Z06, etc. That has to do with engine and suspension, etc. In regards to packages of how the car is configured, what engine is in there, what suspension the vehicle might have, and that's what that is. So if you're looking at the build sheet, it's three um, um, characters. Each of those three characters denotes something. So, for instance, my Camaro in its build sheet has the characters 2SS, which means it's the SS model with all the goodies in it. So there, you'll see in this list of all these codes of three characters will be 2SS, and that means it's the SS with the heated seats, the leather heated seats, and something else. I don't remember what the 2SS was. It's leather heated seats. There's something else in the 2SS over the 1SS. And then you'll also see the CTH code in there, and that is the code for the Transformers package. And so other Camaros would have Z28 in there or ZL1. And so people will say they own a ZL1 Camaro or a Z28 Camaro. And that explains, that package that it is. So my Camaro is a 2SS, RS, CTH. Those are the three builds that are specific to my car to describe what it is. 2SS, meaning the top of the line SS. RS is an appearance package, Rally Sport appearance package, and I don't remember what that actually is. RS code there's a different characters for RS code. I don't remember what the RS code is. And then CTH is the code for the Transformers package. So that's what all that means. C4, C5 is a year. C4 is the fourth generation Corvettes that went from 1984 until I think 1992 or 3, or hell, it may have been 1995. I don't remember, but that's all the C4 Corvettes. And then C5 is the Corvettes that came after that. And Camaro, instead of using C, because both Camaro and Corvette start with C, they say it differently. They say first gen, second gen, third gen, fourth gen, fifth gen. So currently they're on sixth gen Camaro, and they're on the C8 Corvette, eighth generation Corvette. 70s is C3. C3 Corvette is the 70s, which went from, like I said, I don't remember, I think 69 or 68 up until 82 is a C3 Corvette. And there's a time around 70, I don't remember, 73 or 74, they went from metal bumpers to plastic bumpers. And so there's that clear defining line on them as well. And then in 76, they started doing, I think it was 76, started doing the catalytic converters. I think that was when it was 76. Don't remember. So there's different years along that generation, the C3 generation, where there's defining lines which will put you in one category over another in that whole Coke bottle shaped Corvette. You get the steel bumpers or the metal bumpers or the plastic bumpers. So you get the pre-catalytic converter or after catalytic converter Corvettes. And so these build sheets, we'll see them. So someplace like in my Camaro, it's in the trunk. You pull up the carpet, and there's a white sticker about this big, and it just says, for instance, ABC 123 ZDY PXQ QNF RXY, and it's just three characters, and they're in alphabetic order. So like the last one would be ZZZ, and the first one would be 000. So zeros, the numbers are first, and then they integrate the letters into it. So 000 would be the very first, and ZZZ would be the very last. And each of those means something. So something means uh, power windows. Something means 9-speaker package stereo. Something means leather seats. Something means color yellow. So each one of those little lines on there, and there's a lot of them. There's like, I don't even know. I would say guessing maybe 100 codes in this of they actually mean how that car is built. So for that build sheet, you could know everything about that car. What kind of radio was in it, what color seats were, what color the exterior was, what kind of seats were in it. Did it have power windows? Did it have power door locks? Did it have an 8-cylinder engine or a 6-cylinder engine or 4-cylinder engine, or what transmission was in it, automatic or stick shift, or what kind of rear end did it have, what kind of suspension did it have, what kind of brakes did it have. All these mean something on that, and that's what all those codes mean, the build sheets. SS stands for Super Sport. Yeah. RS is Rally Sport. So Super Sport is a performance package. Rally Sport is an appearance package. So in the Camaros, forever, whenever it would say RS or Rally Sport, it was something that they would do in regards to the body to make it appear different, whether it's the headlights or the fender flares around the wheels, or wheel sizes, or a tail light configuration or something. That's what RS did. It was just an appearance package. SS wasn't a performance package. So I don't think there's ever been a 6-cylinder SS Camaro. I think every SS Camaro is an 8-cylinder, but not every 8-cylinder Camaro is an SS. And they may drop or add these nomenclatures. So they may not have even used the SS nomenclature at all in the third gen Camaros, for instance. So the 80s Camaros, I don't think there was a single SS Camaro. I think back then it was the big thing was the IROCs and the Z28s, and that's what they used. I don't remember there being an SS Camaro in the 80s. I think it was they had Camaro, Berlinetta, LTs, and IROCs and Z28s. I don't think SS was the nomenclature that they used. So they'll pick up and drop names all the time based off of what they think the public wants to hear. You know, if the public wants a Z28 name, by golly, they're going to make a Z28 named car because everybody wants to drive a Z28. And they'll say the Z28 now represents this specific package. And if they find that nobody wants to drive anything named Z28, but they'd rather drive something that says SS on it, they'll drop the Z28 name and use SS instead to mean the exact same performance package, just different ways of branding and marketing the car. And then that will be put into the build sheet, 2SS, 1SS, or SSX, or whatever. In the 70s, yeah, they had stick shifts back then. Sure did. Sure did. I don't think they have stick shifts now, though. I think all the Corvettes are electronic transmission now. I think they're all automatic, more or less. I think, with a paddle shifter that you can turn on and off. So my Camaro is. So my Camaro is an automatic, 8-speed, I think, transmission. And then I can put it in manual mode and then shift on the steering wheel. And I literally would be controlling when the car shifts or don't shift. So, I don't remember if it's one is up and one is down, or if it's a rocker switch on both sides, but it's on the back of the steering wheel. So if I wanted to, I could put it into manual and then just and drive the car like that. I think that's how it works. I don't remember whether it's right or left, which one goes up or down, or whether it's a rocker switch. I don't remember. But there's no more actual stick shift where you have to have your hand here and your other hand down here. It's all electronic. And on top of that, the on my Camaros, when it still had a stick shift down here, the automatics with the paddle shifter is faster than the stick in my Camaros. So the C5 Camaros, you still got a stick down here if you wanted to manually shift your car, and they were not as fast as the automatic ones are, which you could shift like this. But now on the Corvettes, they're all this way. There is no manual stick in new Corvettes. If you wanted manual, you're doing it up here. It's gone. Because, like I said, my Camaro is faster than a stick shift, period. It'll probably be, I'm hoping February or March. That's what I'm hoping. So 5 months, November, December, January, February, March, 4 to 5 months. That's what I'm looking at. Brand new car. But originally they were telling me 18 months when I first reached out to my local dealership. My associate, I use the term friend loosely. I know him. We hang out together. He's a member of the club, the Camaro Club, but I don't know him that well. You know, he's my friend, but I don't know if I'd ever be able to call him up and say, "Hey, can you bail me out of jail?" I don't know if he's that level of friend. You know what I mean? Don't know if he's that level of friend. You bet, Thomas. And thank you all. Thank you, every one of you, for sticking around. Gosh, this is a 3-hour episode. It's been a long time since we've done a 3-hour episode. We've had a lot to talk about, and I've enjoyed sharing it with you. And I enjoy all the time we get to spend with you guys. My wife is very happy that I had you guys to talk with. And I guarantee you she's shining down on us now. I'm very happy to have this. So if you want to donate, I mean, I'm sounding like I'm a little rich kid buying all these toys and buying Corvettes. But if you want to send a tip my way, go to patreon.com, Siri Emerald, and throw me $1. It doesn't mean anything. You're not supporting me in my habit. All you're doing is letting me know that you appreciate what I do. The same way you would tip your waitress or your bartenders. You know, they're making minimum wage or more, and you're paying them on top of that. In California, there is no waiter's wage or waitress wage. They don't get $2 an hour. They get $15 an hour or whatever the minimum wage in California is. That's what the waiters and waitresses get, plus tips. So you're giving them a tip because you're saying, I want to pay you more than what you're making in the first place. So same thing. If you enjoy what I'm doing, you want to tell me thank you, throw $1 my way at Patreon. I'd appreciate that. Other than that, I appreciate every one of y'all. I love you guys. You Patreon supporters are wonderful. I appreciate every one of you that have supported me in Patreon over these many months and years. And I love all of you. I love you all. Thank you very much. And I'll see you all next week. I'm going to watch the new What If. I'll talk about that. I don't know if there's a movie I'm going to go see, but I'm definitely going to watch the next DC movie that came after Aquaman, whatever that was. I got to catch up on the DC universe. So that's my plan is we'll talk about next week also. And I got to get this room cleaned up. So love you guys. Peace. See y'all.